The wealthiest place on earth isn't Wall Street, isn't Dubai. It is the graveyard. I remember sitting there in this Les Brown seminar when he said this, and I'm scratching my head and I'm asking myself, Les Brown, why would you say that? Because it's full of people who took their $1 million skills and ideas to the grave. He was talking about the books that was never written, the businesses that was never started, the innovations that could have changed the world but never saw the light of day. And here's the crazy part. Many of those ideas was worth millions. But the real question is, are you sitting on a $1 million skill and doing nothing with it? Because if you're not cashing in on your expertise, then you're wasting it. Stop. You could be sitting on a gold mine and don't even realize it. I remember having this conversation with my oldest daughter years ago. She had did something super duper wild. And if you stayed to almost the end of the video, I share that story in grave detail about that interaction, about that wild thing that she did to save herself hundreds of thousands of dollars. But she didn't think that skill set that she just created to help herself, she never thought to ask, could I take this skill set and help other people? We're going to talk about that. What if the skills you already have could change your life? What if you don't need another degree? Definitely don't need a lottery ticket or some big shot investor like on Shark Tank. This week in the series Scrum Masterclass, we uncovered something very, very shocking. Most people already have a $1 million idea, a $1 million skill set, but 99% will never act on it. Wow. Today, I'm breaking down 3 powerful steps to unlock your potential and cash in. Let's begin with step number 3. Discover your $1 million skill. What do you do effortlessly that others struggle with? Step number 2. Build your personal brand, because opportunities don't knock on invisible doors. And then step number 1, leverage Scrum and Agile to execute your plan. Whether it's a new career, a side hustle, or a full-blown business, it does not matter. Scrum and Agile will definitely guide you to your destination. Let's turn lost potential into profits. Greetings, serial Scrum Masters. Welcome to Sprint 3, Mastering Scrum and Personal Branding. Super duper excited about this sprint. Let's dive into it. These are the things that we're going to cover this sprint. Understanding the science of Scrum, mastering the art of Scrum, time management and Scrum, self-leadership development, crafting your personal brand, and tying your branding into wealth creation. Lesson 2. Mastering the art of Scrum. Well, we just talked about the science of Scrum. Let's talk about the art of Scrum. You see, Scrum is all about ownership. Remember, the product owner owns the product backlog. The developers own the sprint backlog. And if the Scrum Master owns anything, it is the adoption of the Scrum Guide. Very nice. The common denominator in all 3 is that everybody owns something. High emotional intelligence fosters strong interpersonal relationships and nurtures a positive team dynamic. I imagine you have seen somebody in your lifetime that you didn't know how that person was going to be until they opened their mouth. Have you ever met anybody like that? I think most people are pretty consistent. They either always happy or they always sad, but you have that one person that you don't know what you're going to get until they open their mouth. If that's you, I just gave you something that you really, really need to work on. Why? Because we don't trust nobody like that. And all these things are highlighting behind the scenes. These are the things of how you build trust. Trust is transactional. Okay. Are you a leader? Do you have emotional intelligence? Are you fostering collaboration? Collaboration is at the heart of Scrum. Scrum Masters and teams should create an environment that encourages open dialogue, trust, which is transactional. It's either going up or it's going down. It never stays the same, and shared goals. How would you rate your facilitation techniques? Would you say that you are a good active listener? Active listening is an essential facilitation technique that involves fully concentrating, understanding, responding, and remembering what is being said. Or are you that type of person that, hey, you already know what you're going to say, you're just waiting on the other person to finish so that you can say what you got to say? See, that decreases trust. When team members feel heard, it fosters a culture of respect and promotes richer discussions during meetings and sprint events. What about conflict resolution? Do you have any experience in conflict resolution? Conflict is natural in any team environment, even in your personal life. I would make the case and the argument that if you've never had conflict in your personal relationship, you have a very shallow relationship. It is because of that conflict, after you talk about it, on the other side of me understanding what you meant and you understanding what I meant, on the other side of that conflict is what? Growth. Beautiful. Have you ever been in an environment where they were just very, very negative? It seems like that everybody come up with an idea, somebody, the next person shoots it down. There's a technique I'm going to introduce you to. I learned from Toastmasters. It's called yes and. So when I'm in an environment like that, during the retrospective, when I begin to facilitate at the top of the event, I'm going to say, hey, we're going to talk about XYZ problem, and I want to come up with some ideas in terms of how can we solve this problem. Scrum team, when you give your feedback, I want you to expand on what's being said. The technique is called yes and. You see, by using the technique yes and, you build upon ideas that are out there. We're very familiar with yes, but kills ideas. Have you been in a room where they use yes and? It is absolutely amazing. How do you encourage participation? You see, this is all part of facilitation. Definitely recommend you take that. If you didn't buy the package with the facilitation class included, I highly recommend you get into the next facilitation class to learn all of these facilitating techniques and strategies. Even when it comes to facilitation, there is a framework that will guide you to a successful outcome. Lesson number 3, time management and Scrum. If I'm in the workplace, a Scrum Master came to me and asked me to mentor them at work, the first thing I'm going to ask them is, let me see your schedule. And typically what happens is I want you to imagine a schedule from Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Their schedule is booked up from the time they get to work to the time they get off. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing, man? What the hell are you doing, woman? You definitely ain't doing Scrum. I don't know what the hell you doing, but you damn sure ain't doing Scrum. Why? Because the schedule tells me how effective they are. If the team is getting distracted, why are they getting distracted? I would challenge you to go back and look at your Scrum events and ask yourself, are the events achieving the goals that the Scrum guide has laid out before you even had the event? If not, why don't you start your event off by identifying the purpose of the event and go from there? You making sure the event does not go over the time box. There's been a few instances where it did go over the time box, but that will be the exception to the rule. But outside of that extreme case, we're going to make sure that we start on time and stop on time. Why are you doing that? Well, because the Scrum Guide said so. Because our job is to make sure the event does not go over the time box that we have agreed upon. We have a maximum time box according to Scrum, which I have never ever used. For example, sprint planning has an 8-hour maximum time box for a 1-month sprint. Have I ever used a whole 8 hours for a sprint planning event? No. Even on a team that actually had a 1-month cadence. Now, let's say we have sprint planning scheduled for 1 hour. Let's also say that it is 2 minutes before the time box is up. And what if the team is in a heated discussion or a breakthrough discussion? Am I going to end the meeting in 2 minutes? Probably not. Because if it's a conflicting situation, I want to let that conflict play out because I know conflict is necessary for the team to go to the next level. Or it could be a brainstorming moment where they get ready to have a breakthrough, and I don't want to break up the breakthrough. So I'm going to let that breakthrough moment just go through and ride. Then once sprint planning is over, I'm going to remind them that, hey, we went over the time box, but guess what? Now, when it comes to sprint retrospective, I already have something to talk about. Like what? Hey, team, great job this sprint. Y'all delivered something amazing. But let's go back to sprint planning where we went over by 15, 20 minutes, whatever the number may be. I'm going to highlight that. And then I'm going to ask them, do we need to add more time to our sprint planning? Do we need to go an hour and a half? Do we need to go 2 hours? Because my job as a Scrum Master to make sure that we don't go over the time box. I did in this case because the conflict was high and that needed to come out, or the brainstorming was so good and I didn't want to mess up the flow. But that is the exception to the rule. So we want to make sure we adhering to our team working agreement that we should already have in place at this particular point. So just giving you some ideas in terms of how to handle that. There may be a case where you have to run over, which is very, very rare, but you might get to that situation. I want to go ahead and give you how I deal with it so that you won't be so stuck on using the Scrum Guide by the book that you take out the human element. Because ultimately, Scrum and Agile is about bringing back the human element to software development or to the environment in which you're working in. Very nice. Strategies for effectiveness. We want to make sure the product backlog is ordered. We used to use the word prioritize in the Scrum Guide, but over time, the product owner will prioritize everything as high priority. Well, thinking about transparency, if everything in your product backlog is high priority, how do we know which thing to work on first? That will be very confusing. That's why we use the word ordered in the Scrum Guide today. Lesson 4, self-leadership development. Being your own CEO. Personal accountability involves taking ownership of one's actions and contributions within a team. Emphasizing this principle empowers your team to reflect on their performance, learn from their experiences, and contribute positively to the team culture, leading to the overall goal. Personal accountability. I can't say enough about that. Lesson 5, crafting your personal brand. How do you do that? Define your unique value proposition. What is your value? What is your jam? What is that thing that nobody can do that thing like you, because to everybody else, you make it look so easy, but when they try, they just can't do it like you do it. I'm thinking like Michael Jordan. Wow, how does he do that? I tried it. I just can't do it like him. And for the ladies, I can't forget about you. I'm thinking about Simone Biles. She do that gymnastic stuff like nobody's ever seen, can't even come close. I mean, she's so good at what she do that she got exercises named after her. Oh, this is Simone Biles deal. Imagine that. Anybody can do gymnastics if they want to do it. They may not be able to do it at her level because, hey, she put in the time to work on her craft in such a way that she making sure she's staying out amongst the crowd because of the time and the motivation she has to be the best of the best. High-value Scrum Masters possess traits such as strong facilitation skills, adaptability, and deep Agile knowledge. They are also effective communicators who can navigate diverse team dynamics and foster an Agile mindset within their teams. To stand out in the Agile community, individuals must leverage their unique skills and experiences because Scrum requires you to bring your authenticity. Don't ever try to be like nobody else. Do you, boo? Do your thing, but make sure you know the Scrum Guide and the Agile Manifesto as you are doing your thing. I doubt very seriously you're going to be discovered by anyone, so you're going to have to be out there in public so people can find you. Attracting opportunities. What are your networking strategies? Because I'm so active on the public scene, I've had people reach out to me for all kinds of things. To co-write a book with them, to co-write an Agile coaching for the Agile Coaching Alliance, to be on different committees for Agile coaches, this, that, and the third. But all that is coming from me being visible so people can find me. I put this in one of the last few videos I did, and I'm surprised nobody asked me this question. Scott, how in the world can you get an interview without applying for jobs? Because I attract opportunities. Somebody have seen some not Scrum Dumb video. Somebody have seen some Scrum Academy video. Somebody have seen a LinkedIn post or comment I have made and followed me. In fact, I've had some students come to my PSM1 class, and I always ask, how did you find out about the class, and why did you select me as your instructor? And it typically goes like this. Scott, I've been following you for 6 months on LinkedIn. I've been following you for a year on the Not Scrum Down podcast. I've been following you here. I've been following you there. The point of it is, before anybody going to spend any major money with you, they're going to check out and see who you are. So again, if they can't find you, they ain't going to know who you are, and you only limit it to the people who just know you. But what you can do is spruce up your LinkedIn profile, begin to post some things, join some communities, go to some meetups and things like that. This is all part of you increasing, making people aware of your personal brand. Because your personal brand don't help nobody if don't nobody know about it but you and your family. That ain't helping nobody. That's great that your family know about how wonderful you are, but okay, you need to put yourself out there in the market. You need to let the world know. You need to be on the top of the mountain like with a bullhorn, letting the world know I am here and this is how I can help you. Very nice. Lesson 6, tying branding to wealth building. How does branding support your wealth? Personal branding can significantly impact wealth building strategies by establishing credibility and expertise in your field. A strong brand facilitates higher quality opportunities, leading to potential consulting roles, workshops, and even speaking engagements that generate income. Yes, I have gone through all of those, mainly because I have trained a ton of people. Do you have to do that? No, not necessarily. You're going to have to be out in the public arena so that you can be easily to find, because I doubt very seriously you're going to be discovered because there's too much out there. Are you tracking? Work on your consulting pitch. Consulting pitches should be designed to effectively communicate your value. I would recommend you doing this, whether you want to be a consultant or not. I would recommend you play this game like, what's that show? Shark Tank. I would recommend you come up with a consulting pitch as if you going on Shark Tank to get in front of those persons to ask for money. That will help you to fine tune what is your value proposition. What is your deal? What is your jam that you can do that nobody else in the world can do that thing like you do? What is that? A pitch that highlights your unique insights, proven results, and tailored solutions resonate well with potential clients and create pathways for lucrative collaborations. What else can you do? YouTube channel. Doesn't cost you anything to do that. When I started my YouTube channel, I looked at it as two things. I look at YouTube as my retirement fund. Why? I don't expect to get rich off YouTube in the first 1 or 2 to 5 years. I look at YouTube as a way for me to practice a different style of communicating to people. I look at it as a way for me to show up in a public arena where people know, hey, every week Scott is going to deliver something of value and he's giving me all this stuff for free. Wow, if he's giving me all this stuff for free, I can only imagine what he's going to do when I pay him some money. Oh, my goodness gracious. Are y'all tracking? Designing workshops. Have you ever thought about designing your own workshop? I would recommend you do, because I know there's something that you know that somebody else don't know. I know that there's something that you know that no one else know it on the level that you know it. Here's what I've come to know. Everybody is an expert in something. Everybody knows something that no one else knows how to do to that level. That's why you see the rise of coaches, because there's so much information coming at us. No one person has time to learn it all. That's why people pay top dollar to go to coaches and get this type of training like this, is because they want to laser focus in on the thing they need to get that thing so that they can implement and execute on it, so that they can get to the destination they're trying to get to. That's why you see a rise of coaches, and you will continue to see a rise of coaches. But to be a coach, you're going to have to be an expert in something. What is that something for you? Workshop ideas should align with your personal branding to ensure the content reflects one's expertise and interests. Considering offering workshops on specific Scrum techniques, agile transformation, or team dynamics, showcasing valuable skills while reinforcing your brand identity. Take a look at my brand. Let me know. Give me some feedback. Does it look consistent? Do you see me all over the place? The name of my business is called Scrum Academy. Everything I bring at you is somewhere grounded in Scrum and or Agile. Everything. I show you how to use Scrum for an employer. make money through them. I'm showing you how to use Scrum to create your workshop and take it to market. You're going to need some framework to take it to market, something that's going to help you walk through the process to get this thing to market. Why not use Scrum to do that? I use Scrum in all aspects of my life, including this workshop, including the book that I have, including the class creation. Everything. Becoming a better person. Trading stocks in the stock market. I use Scrum for everything. Now, when you think about designing your workshop, some of you may not get a job in Scrum, and I realize that. So you need to be thinking about that today. Okay, what if you don't get a job as a Scrum Master? So don't wait till you don't get a job to begin to think about this. Think about this right now. Okay, again, going back to what I said previously, what is that thing that you can do that everybody look at you like, wow, how can you do that? I mean, there's all kinds of rich, famous people from just doing the things they love. I'm thinking like pottery. I'm thinking about people that just travel and talk about the different places they travel. It's just so many different ways you can make money this day and time. You only limited by your imagination. Here's a workshop idea I had. I got it from my oldest daughter, Brittany, and told Brittany to start. You see, she decided that she wanted to go to grad school and she did not want to have no debt. She wanted to get her degree, but have no debt when she's done with the degree. And she wanted to do this on her own. I didn't know about it till many, many years later. She just told me, Dad, I'm going back to school. I'm like, okay, cool, baby. Let me know if you need anything. Now, during the process, about halfway in it, we began to have conversation. I'm like, hey, baby, you need any money? Anything I can do for you? Hey, I mean, it costs a lot of money to go to grad school. Oh, no problem, Dad. I got it covered. Is your job paying for this? I'd never heard of a job paying for this before. No, Dad, my job, I got tired of going back and forth with them. They was only going to pay XYZ amount of dollars, and it wasn't enough to do nothing. I'd be in school for the rest of my life at the money they were going to pay. I'm like, okay, I know that. I'm like, what are you doing? How are you paying for this? Brittany, I don't want you to get any loans. Loans is not an option. She said, Dad, I don't have any loans. I said, well, Brittany, how are you paying for this? And I'm not even going to assume that you're doing anything illegal. No, Dad, I'm not doing anything illegal. Well, Brittany, you got me on the edge of my damn chair. Would you go ahead and tell me what the hell it is you're doing and how you paying for this here graduate degree and no money is coming out of your pocket? She said, Dad, I've researched a lot of scholarships. I've learned it. And I discovered there's a ton of scholarships out there. A ton of monies out there for different foundations like the Bill Gates Foundations and many other foundations she named that I forgot to this day. And she said, Dad, I applied for a little bit of money over here. I applied for a little bit of money over there. I applied for so much money in so many different places. I got money coming in from so many different places. She said, Dad, I have learned that most people just ain't willing to take the time to apply for scholarships and grants. It's not that they don't meet the requirements. They just don't want to take the time to apply for it. I'm like, wow. She said, that's a lot of work to research it, to give them all the information they look for. But hey, it's free money, Dad. You remember my definition of done was, I'm going to get my degree and it's going to be fully paid for when I get that degree in my hand. I'm not going to pay for it. My dad ain't going to pay for it. My mama ain't going to pay for it. The world is going to pay for it. Like, interesting. I like the way you think. I'm like, okay, go ahead on, girl. After she told me, I said, girl, you need to create a class on that because I know there will be somebody out there who would love to know how to do what you just did and could save them a ton of money. Because I'm thinking about friends who blew up, made millions off helping people to repair their credit, have good credit scores. I'm like, hey, if they can make a ton of money doing that, I'm sure there's a niche out there that people would want to know how to tap into scholarships and get free money, whether it's undergrad, grad, or whatever it is. I know there's a huge population of people out there. I don't know where to find them. I think if your content is good enough, if you tell them the story you just told me, boom, there's your brand right there. Are y'all tracking? Very nice. Design a workshop. If nothing else, use it as practice for you to practice on something that I promise you're going to need because you already know we're in an edu-tech environment. Long gone are the days of going to a college or a university to get what you need. Everything is online now. Harvard, MIT, Wilmington University where I teach at. Everybody's online now. You just got to take the time to go get it, baby. It's out there and it's going to cost you a fraction of the cost versus you going to an actual physical campus. Or enrolling as a student and doing online classes. Either way, it's going to cost you a ton of money doing that way. But check it out. Please don't take my word for it. Go to MIT and see what kind of online classes they have and look at the curriculum for actually taking the class after paying hundreds of thousands of dollars and see if they match. Do the same thing for Harvard. Do the same thing for any school that you thinking about going to. Okay? What smart people are doing is they going to Duke University, MIT, Harvard, and getting a certification because that brand carries so much weight. Oh, I got a certification or a certificate from Yale in this. I got a certificate or certification from Harvard, MIT, the Ivy League schools, right? Exactly. Why? Because they already branded. And some companies, unfortunately, only hire people that have that particular brand behind their name. It's unfortunate, but it's a fact. So it's something to think about. Marketing your expertise requires strategic outreach, utilizing social media, professional networks, and content marketing, i.e. blogs, webinars to share insights, gather followers, and create a community around your brand, amplifying recognition in the agile space. You know what the real currency is? The real money, the real value of any business? Their contact list. So you got to be thinking about that as well. How are you going to create your own email list? How are you going to create your own contact list? Because if you're on Facebook on that. If you're on YouTube on that. And these different social media platforms, that's the problem with these platforms is they own your community. Scott, is that why you created your own community? Yeah. So take matters in your own hand. So think about an email platform so that you can get people to opt into something for free. That way you can push out email to them in the future. Hey, I'm offering this. Hey, I'm doing this. Hey, I'm going this place. Hey, we're doing a retreat or something like that. Whatever it may be, you have that contact list. And that list is somebody who may be doing business with you in the future, have done business with you in the past, or just not quite ready yet. They on the fence. So you don't know where that person lies in their journey. But one thing is for sure, if you don't have a way to contact them effectively and efficiently, you just lost a potential future sale. You just lost a potential customer. So those are all the reasons why you would want to do these things, because hopefully your ultimate goal is not to work for somebody for the rest of your life. So hopefully that helps you. Let me know if you got any comments, questions, or concerns. I'll see you in the discussion board. Thank you. It is my hope and wish that you enjoyed the presentation. You're already sitting on $1 million high-value skill. But the question is, are you actually cashing in on it? Because if you don't take action, someone else will. Let's recap on the 3 powerful steps to turn your skills into income. Step number 1, leverage Scrum and Agile to execute your plan. Whether it's a new career, a job change, a side hustle, or a full-blown business. Step number 2, you're going to build your personal brand. Why? Because opportunities don't knock on invisible doors. Step number 3, discover your $1 million skill. What you do effortlessly that others struggle with. I'm thinking about that skill set likened to tying your shoes when you get up in the morning. When you tie your shoes, you don't even think about it, right? You just go through the motions of tying that shoe. That's the skill I'm talking about, that you just do without thinking about it. But when other people look at that skill, it's like, whoa, how did he, how did she, how did you do that? Here's something to think about. The wealthiest place on earth is the graveyard, because it's full of dreams never chased, ideas never built, and skills never shared. Don't take your $1 million skill to the grave with you. Fear, false evidence appearing real. Fear kills more dreams than failure ever will. It's time to take action right now. And here's the really cool thing about it. You don't have to do it by yourself. I'm giving you a personal invitation to join my Serious Scrum Masterclass. Feel free to enroll now. If you would like to be part of a legendary like-minded community of professionals, feel free to join the Scrum Academy community. Go to portal.scrumacademy.com. And my question for you today is this. What's a skill or ideal you've been sitting on but haven't acted on it yet? Let's strategize on that. Like this video, subscribe if you're serious about turning your expertise into income. Turn on the notification bell so that you won't ever miss an episode. Be agile, do Scrum, and take control of your financial future Don't let your best ideas die with you. It will be sad. I'm thinking about my grandmother that spent, what, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 years on this earth. Never really had anything to show for it. Never made any significant impact. Been on the planet for that long and didn't make any significant impact. That really has to be sad. I'll see you in the next one.